Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, DJ Hamilton, here at the DJ Sports Show, here on this beautiful afternoon here in Garnerville, New York, at WRCR 1700 AM radio. It's a great day here, Will, isn't it?
Indeed it is, DJ.
How you doing, my friend? I feel like I haven't seen you in a little while.
It has been a little bit, but I'm doing all right. And yourself?
Doing good, man. It's been, spring's around the corner. It's getting warmer outside. It was 70 degrees the other day on Thursday, and I went to the gym in shorts. It felt great.
Nice.
Yeah, man, gotta stay fit. You know, summer's around the corner, beach weather's coming. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's your host DJ Hamilton here at the DJ Sports Show. Make sure you guys continue to check out my website, djsportshow.com, on all things sports. Check out my recent interview I did with Cam Vaughn, the JV head coach of Renville basketball. We got into his life journey, his love for fitness, and his basketball career, and also why he got into coaching. In this show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about NFL free agency. We got a lot of big moves that happened recently. Saquon to the Eagles, Derrick Henry to the Ravens, and we got Russell Wilson to the Pittsburgh Steelers. First things first, so Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. Saquon Barkley to the Eagles was one of the biggest moves, and joining me on the show today is one of my good friends from the Black Sports Symposium and an associate writer and editor for Clutch Points, my good friend Dylan Bruton. How you doing, Dylan?
Hey, DJ, how about yourself?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, brother. How's everything out in Atlanta, man?
You know, same over here. The weather's starting to get a little warmer. You know, obviously it's a little time before beach season, but it's time to get to work to get prepared for beach season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, it's time to get outside.
I think that's what it is time for.
Yeah.
Time's ticking. Time's ticking.
Oh, yeah. So before we get into, we start breaking down Saquon, here's Saquon on why he wanted to join the Eagles.
Kind of on your radar, and you thought that this might be a good spot for you.
Yeah. When it came to my attention, that the Eagles were one of the teams that were interested in me. I definitely got excited about it. Obviously, we got everything wrapped up and just put my signature to the paper. But from watching from afar, everything that they're about. The culture here, the fans here, definitely got super excited about it, and I'm just happy to be a part of this organization, and I'm ready to go.
So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was Saquon Barkley, the former two-time Pro Bowl running back for the New York Giants, on why he joined the Eagles. So he signed a 3-year, $37.75 million contract with the Eagles. $26 million of it is guaranteed, with the chance for incentives to be up to $46.75 million. So he now becomes the fourth highest paid running back in the league behind MVP finalist Christian McCaffrey of the 49ers, former All-Pro running back New Orleans Saints Alvin Kamara, and the ascending Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. So, Dylan, what did you think of the Saquon signing to the Eagles?
I was gonna say, honestly, I was surprised.
Yeah.
But given the Penn State connection, you know what I'm saying, I'm more than certain that he's had some kind of familiarity with the Eagles, and then obviously, him being on the Giants, and that being their division rival, he's faced them, twice a year, every year since he's been in the league. And I think, you got to know when to leave a situation. It's the Giants as a team, just they seem to be stuck in this perpetual borderline mediocrity to being bad enough to tank, but having no one who's willing to pull the plug and be man enough to say, you know what, we got a clean house. So, when you're a superstar caliber player like Saquon Barkley, it's a variety of things. You can either keep hoping and praying and maybe get in management ears that they're going to do their job, but at 27 years old, as a running back who's had multiple season-ending injuries, I think he made the most, wise and intellectual decision based upon his career and the trajectory that he's wanting to go. Because we all know when he's fully healthy, I would argue he's the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah, he's in that conversation for sure.
And when you look at the teams that he's been playing with, and the talent that he's had next to him, he's been facing 8 or more in the box. So to go to a team like the Eagles that already are loaded on the offensive side, they've got better play calling, they've got a much better quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be very exciting. And then you add what the value he provides in the passing game, so that opens things up for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside. I think this was a slam dunk move, and I'm very excited to see what they do because I think very well there might not be any defenses out there that can stop him.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yo, remember we talked about last night? I have a great analogy.
Yeah. So bringing that up, I want to hear it.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, so Saquon was 16th in rushing yards last season, 962, and he's replacing DeAndre Swift, who went to the Bears on a 3-year deal, who was third in the league in rushing, 1,049. So yeah, DeAndre Swift's a really good running back. Don't get me wrong, but when Saquon's at his best, bro, he's a whole different level. He brings a whole different dimension, bro. So I relate this to like relationships, like with a girlfriend. So yes, so when you first start off, Will knows what I'm talking about. Will's a married man. Will's a married man, Dylan, if you didn't know.
That I am.
Okay.
Yes. So when you start off relationship, you're in a honeymoon phase, everything's going great. You don't see no wrong. Like Saquon, when he first started his career with the Giants, first 2 seasons, he's killing out the gate. 1,000-yard rushing seasons the first 2 years. He's looking like the future of the league. Everybody's loving him. The Giants fans love him. They're their biggest fan. The future looks bright. You can't do no wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But as time goes on, relationship progresses. You go through adversity. You go through bumps in the road. You have arguments. Things are not going your way, and then you start feeling like, oh man, what's going on here? Like that's what happened with Saquon. The Giants injuries started happening. And then he's also going through, the team's not as good as he thought it would eventually be. He's not having a good offensive line to protect him, and that's why he's getting all these injuries. And then he also doesn't have a great quarterback he's playing with. He played with the end-of-the-road Eli Manning his last year in the league, and then he's playing with Daniel Jones, who at best is probably a average starting quarterback in the league. He's not like a Pro Bowler or All-Pro type quarterback. And then you go through those bumps.
As well.
And you go through those bumps and bruises in a relationship. You don't feel valued or respected. You feel like you can't trust the organization, similar to Saquon Barkley. For 2 consecutive years, they opted to not franchise tag him, which saved them $12.1 million. But if I'm Saquon, you're a running back, your time is limited in the NFL. You want to get all the guaranteed money you can possibly get. And you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears in the game and practice. You're one of the best players in the organization. And you say you want to be a Giant for life. Well, then the franchise is not valuing you. They're not respecting you. They don't trust you. And you're starting to lose your trust. Just like in a partner. If you lose your trust, you lose the respect, and they're not appreciating you. You don't want to be with them.
No.
And then
unless
exactly.
you have no self-respect.
Hey, Will, just click this tongue. He's like, man, I agree.
I can't relate. My wife is perfect. I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, Will
got a good one.
If you have a gun to your head, Will, just tell DJ to help move him out the way. It's all right.
I've been in relationships before. I know what you're talking about. It's
yeah. And then you're like, okay,
it's classic.
And then it's breaking your heart.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah,
I've had to make that choice before. It's not fun, but
yeah,
it's healthier for both parties.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You gotta do what's best for you at the end of the day, and that's what Saquon did. He didn't feel valued. He didn't trust him anymore, and he felt disrespected. And he said, "Okay, I'm gonna break up with this girl, the Giants in this case." And he finds a new girlfriend, a better one that values him, that trusts him, appreciates him, what he brings to the table, and wants to better him and reach his ultimate potential. And that's why he found the Philadelphia Eagles, and he gets to stay close to home. That's why he said why he chose the Eagles, because it's closest to home. So, and he has a chance to win. Remember, like you said, they not only he's playing with elite wide receivers tandem. That's the best wide receivers he's ever played with. He never played with elite wide receivers with the New York Giants. They never put that around him. Or he's never played with an elite quarterback. He gets to do that now with Jalen Hurts as well. And you forgot to mention an elite offensive line. The Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Giants were one of the worst his whole tenure with the Giants. And that's why he got pummeled, injured. He didn't really get anywhere. And now that he's going to have a great offensive line, great quarterback, and great wide receivers to open things up for him, he could run through the middle, run on the outside. He could be a decoy and as a receiver. And he's not going to have all the pressure, the defense looking at him to run the football, because now they got receivers they got to worry about. A.J. Brown's one of the top 3 receivers in the league.
Exactly.
It's him, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. And then you have Devontae Smith also as a good young wide receiver. They got the defense has to worry about. So they can't just pressure up and try to stop Saquon with the run, because they got to worry about those 2 wide receivers going deep. And it's going to spread the offense and the field for him. And it's going to open things up for him on a new level that he's never seen before. And then it's going to take pressure off Jalen Hurts as well, who's also a running quarterback, similar to like Lamar Jackson. Not the same level Lamar, but he's one of the best running quarterbacks in the league. And that's going to take pressure off of Jalen Hurts as well, to not have to run the football so much. So I think this was a slam dunk move for the Eagles and for Saquon. He found that new, better girlfriend that's going to treat him right, and he has a better chance to win and win a championship, and that's going to respect him, and he trusts them.
I agree. And I think it is ironic that Tiki Barber, went on a whole tangent about how, like you're dead to us, and it's like Tiki.
Yeah,
I respect the Tiki because Tiki was a bad man growing up running the football.
I heard the tone when she said it. When you read it, you don't hear the tone, but I heard the tone when she said it. It wasn't like malicious or anything. He said it jokingly, so I was like,
okay.
yeah, because I didn't get to hear it. I only saw it on social media. I was like, oh man, that looks ruthless.
Yeah, I was about to say, Tiki, you're the same guy that before you retired, because he's still bitter about the fact that he retired the year before the Giants beat the 16-0 Pats.
Yep.
But the year before he retired, I remember he either took like a front page or something article to diss Eli to everybody. Now, granted, it's at that time, before Eli had won a Super Bowl, it was very easy to punch down on Eli. He was the first overall pick, and after seeing the immediate success that Phillip Rivers had, Big Ben, seeing what they were doing versus what he was doing, it was easy to be like, okay, like you're this Manning and you're not living up to this hype and potential that you're supposedly going to have. But when you go win and you prove people wrong, you're able to change the narrative, and people forget about those times. But that's your teammate, that's your quarterback. There's just lines that you're not supposed to cross. The locker room is supposed to be sacred. There's supposed to be trust that's supposed to be had, and when that's violated and broken, that's why you're not going to be looked at and regarded the same way, which is why the Eagles have let other guys wear number 21, even though Tiki was one of the best running backs that they've ever had, if not the best running back.
Yep.
And that's not to take anything away from Saquon, but I think Saquon, hasn't had the best possible circumstances surrounding him.
Yeah.
But I think that his talent and his impact are going to outdo what Tiki did. But I had no idea that he said that quote jokingly, because it seemed like he was being very serious. And from what
it seemed like he was trying to ether him like Nas, right? I know you a music guy, so yeah.
That's a great comparison. So yeah, but I think ultimately it'll also be interesting to pay attention to see if Jason Kelce decides to come back, because he's retired. But
yeah, he's like, man, all these guys are coming now when I retire. He's like, man, he's like, having second thoughts.
I got another year in me or so. But I think ultimately, it'll be interesting to see. But the NFC East is it's going to get a little bit more interesting, but really just the NFC as a whole.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man. So next, let's get into, Derrick Henry, man, to the Ravens. This is going to be great, man. So Derrick Henry, former Tennessee Titans running back and first-team All-Pro selection. He signed a 2-year, $16 million deal with the AFC runner-ups and the Baltimore Ravens. Hey, remember when I told you the Chiefs are going to beat the Ravens? And yeah, the Ravens? Oh, you were...
I mean, to be fair, there was... with that game, there was a lot of, I guess you could say, mental errors that they faced, that they kind of just did on their own, because watching that game, it wasn't like Kansas City really obliterated them on offensive end. They played good defense, but they played within their scheme. They didn't do it really. It was just solid game planning, and then the Ravens being in their own head. And I think Lamar was very much out there trying to have a game that was going to shut up the naysayers and the doubters that were saying, oh, well, he can't win a game off his arm, which is ridiculous, because it's like, but he's been doing that since he got to the league. Same year as Saquon, funny enough, 2018 draft. But it's like, that was a game where if they had utilized the run game, because they only had 5 attempts, how are you the number one ranked rushing offense in the league and by a wide country margin? And why don't you run the ball? This is what's gotten you all the success this far. But
I don't know what they were doing in that AFC Championship game, bro.
I just told you, man. Lamar was trying to quiet and shut up all the haters
by throwing the football instead of using his superpower. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had a lot of mental errors. If that touchdown for Zay Flowers counts, we're having a whole different discussion, because their momentum got shifted completely after that.
Definitely.
But you throw in someone like Derrick Henry, who, though he is the dreaded 30, 30 is seen as the final countdown until you're done, you're finished as a running back. I do believe that at this stage of his career, he can still be very effective as a bell cow, because with his play style, yes, he's a bruiser, but he's always had the speed, he's always had the quickness, and he's someone who's a workout warrior. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you follow him on social media,
man.
That man is in the gym.
Squat crazy amount, bro.
So, like, you think you in the gym a lot.
Yeah. That dude's a different beast, man.
Yeah, he's different. But I think ultimately, I'm gonna say this because you know how much I rate, how much I gave Baltimore their props and whatnot. I don't think the needle is moved for them until they get a legitimate number one receiver. I like Zay Flowers, but they need that number one guy that's a threat.
That has more experience.
Yes, and I think there's a name that now he hasn't been floating around with them, but because he was recently franchise tagged, that leaves some open accessibility. But I wouldn't be surprised if they start putting in some calls for T. Higgins. Ooh. They don't have a big receiver on the perimeter. They don't have a guy who can go up and get those jump ball passes. They got a lot of speed guys and a lot of short guys, which for the life of me I don't get. But I guess they're trying to recreate the Kansas City Chiefs offense. But the thing is, Tyreek Hill wasn't just a burner. He's a phenomenal route runner, super strong hands, and he's got a complete route tree. So it's not like he's just running, go routes out there all day. Yeah. But I think a receiver that is a threat is someone that the defense has to worry about, and that is also physical and is able to reach the point of attack. If you combine that with throwing, Derrick Henry, and then you still got Zay Flowers, you got guys like Bateman and Duvernay, and then you still have well, they don't have Justice Hill anymore, I think, and I know Gus Edwards just went to the Chargers, I believe. Yeah. So their running back room is a little smaller, but if J.K. Dobbins comes back,
hey man, that'll be crazy.
We could honestly put them up there next to Philly and say that's the best offense in the league. But I still think they're missing that number one receiver.
Yeah.
And until then, that's always going to be what holds them back, and why I can't necessarily, outside of my own want to see them do it, but I can't objectively put them over Kansas City and say, yeah, they're gonna come out the AFC.
Yeah, so his deal is actually going to be worth up to $20 million, and he'll get $9 million the first year. So here is Derrick Henry on what went into his decision to join Baltimore and how he fits into their style of play.
The decision to come here for you.
Yeah, it really was a no-brainer for me. This is where I knew I wanted to be. I love the style, the physicality that they play with on all three phases. I feel like it fits my style of play as well. It was really a no-brainer, just trying to figure out the business side of things, and glad we were able to get it figured out.
Derrick, how much do you feel you have left in the tank?
Henry, he gives the Ravens someone after Lamar Jackson. He gives them a dangerous backfield. And I know you didn't mention this, bro, but this is one of the baddest running backs to ever do it, bro. This guy's one of 8 running backs to ever have 2,000 yards rushing in a season, which he did in 2020, and when he had 2,027 yards. He could have won the MVP that year. He was amazing. And then in the last, and he has rushed for over 1,000 yards in each of the 5 of the last 6 seasons. So yes, he might not be what he used to be because he, injuries. He had that foot injury in 2021. I know that hurt him, especially when you're running back and that strong, that powerful, putting a lot of force on your foot. But he's still a very impactful running back, one of the better running backs in the league. And he was still one of the top rushers in the league last season, despite, the injuries and stuff like that. But now that he has a better team around him, I think this is a great pickup for the Ravens because Lamar Jackson, man, ever since he's come in the league, he's taken the most hits in the league, bro. 1,079 hits the last 6 seasons. You don't want that for someone who's your franchise player, who you gave a contract extension to last year, 5 years, $260 million. You want to protect him. You don't want him taking all that physical duress and accumulating all that pain because he's had some injuries through the years. Lamar Jackson's had some injuries. I know he plays safer now. He doesn't run into it. I've been seeing him the last 2 seasons. He tries to slide or run out of bounds to protect himself from all those hits, which is smart. But he likes to primarily run the football. Having a guy like Derrick Henry to take some of those runs away from him, to not have to get all those hits, he's the franchise player. He's the future of the Ravens. And you want to see him healthy for the next 5 to 6 years because you want to try to make a Super Bowl run and ultimately win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think ultimately Derrick Henry is going to give that backfield a lot of legitimacy because, granted, even though he's 30, that's still a guy who terrorized the Ravens.
Yeah,
a few years back. That Lamar's first MVP season.
Unanimous MVP season.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, that playoffs was out for blood, out to kill. So, granted, that was 4 or 5 seasons ago, but I still think that he's got, he's still got more in the tank, and I think that given that Lamar is a threat on the ground, it's not going to be like, okay, I have to run the ball every single time I'm in the backfield with him. Sometimes I'm going to be blocking. Sometimes I'm going to be going out to, just be a decoy. Sometimes I'm going to be going out to catch a pass. But I think Derrick Henry will give them that running back that, 3rd and 1, they're in the red zone, and they need to give it to somebody who can punch it in. You got the perfect running back for that,
Yep.
But like I said, as much as I want to see the Ravens do well, because Lamar is my guy, it's my, probably my favorite player in the league right now of the last decade and change. They need that number one receiver. Yeah. I love the running back additions, I really do, but you look at these teams, and unless you really unless you are your Tom Brady or your your Pat Mahomes,
you need that elite receiver.
You need an elite receiver. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's not to take away from Lamar's talent. Again, I think Lamar can put it all together to be the best quarterback in the league. But they still think they need to go after that receiver. So I would like to see them. Granted, we're on a different time, but you got all these division rivals signing with one another. So give Cincy a call. See what they're asking for T. Higgins. That's what I would be doing.
Hey, you got to do all you can, man. The AFC is tough. The AFC is really, really tough. So
that division itself, man, because you got, we got
Burrow's coming back.
But Pittsburgh.
Joe Shiesty.
Pittsburgh got better.
Oh, yeah. Hey, let's transition right there right now, man. Yeah,
Cincy's still a threat, and then the Browns. So that's the best. That's the best division in football.
You mentioned Pittsburgh, perfect transition. So Russell Wilson to the Steelers, man, on a vet minimum, 1 year, $1.2 million. He's gonna try to prove himself this year and put his value back up, man. So the Broncos.
That's an excellent deal.
Yep. Especially after, he struggled mightily in Denver. He was 11-19 in his 2 seasons there with Denver. He was benched the last 2 games. Last year, he threw for 3,070 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. The Broncos, he's still going to get his bread from the Broncos. They're going to still pay him $37.8 million.
He got that Bobby Bonilla lifetime special with that contract. So, I'm sure some of the listeners will know about that one. But no, I think, the first year Russell got there, he was the problem. But this last season showed that it was Sean Payton. And I love Sean Payton. For those who don't know, I'm a Saints fan. Who that die hard. And I love, I always have love for Sean Payton. But he was the problem. It's not Russell. Now, does that mean Russell doesn't ever bear any accountability? Oh, absolutely he does.
Yeah.
He's got to play better in certain aspects, and he's got to recognize that, okay, all that Houdini style that I used to do when I was in my 20s in Seattle, we're not in those days anymore. I have to be a little bit more meticulous, and have to be a bit more strategic with when I decide to run, because I don't have that same kind of speed anymore. But I can still deliver the ball if my playmakers are going to get open. And I think him going to a situation like Pittsburgh, he's got a better infrastructure, he's got better weapons, and then he's got some of the best. He's got arguably, in my opinion,
I think a better coach too.
Best coach.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin.
In the entire league, if I'm gonna be real, because outside of Andy Reid, can you name anybody who actively been this consistent as Mike Tomlin?
Especially, and he didn't even have that much elite talent. I know they traded away Kenny Pickett to the Eagles.
Yeah.
I was like, because they have no other quarterback on the contract except for Wilson now. Mason Rudolph's on the Titans now, and then they traded away Kenny Pickett for a 4th round draft pick, I believe. Yeah, for draft picks. Yeah, for
I don't think there's going to be a lot of tears that are shed for either Pickett or Rudolph. Now, they're both, decent guys, but there's a reason why they're making a move for Russell Wilson. They still haven't found that guy yet. Now, I still say this is a stopgap option. This is you're putting a Band-Aid over the wound. At some point, the Steelers are going to need to reset with a new quarterback. Not reset the team as a whole, because you have a great surrounding system around you and pieces that are already in place. but they are going to need to get that next franchise quarterback. Pickett wasn't that guy, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah, I thought he was just a solid
reached.
role quarterback at best, like a backup. I don't think he was like a franchise quarterback for like the next decade or anything like that.
No, they reached because, you know, him being a Pitt guy and him being a very weak quarterback class.
Yeah.
They operated out of desperation.
And it sucks that their defense is elite, but it sucks that they didn't have a bad record this year because this was a really good quarterback class this year. They could have got somebody in this year's class if they would have tanked, but you know Mike Tomlin's not going to do that. But if they could have got that franchise quarterback in this draft, I think they would have been set for the future. Like a Caleb Williams, a Drake May, or J.J. McDaniels at LSU. Like you got some talent in this class.
Attention. There's a rumor that they might be looking at Justin Fields, which even though
I forgot him. Yep.
I personally want to say this, and I want to say this for everybody so they can hear this. But
yeah, make it quick.
I think it'd be dumb to get rid of Justin Fields when you have the opportunity to get one of the best wide receiver prospects that we are ever going to see, and still be able to pick up a generational level offensive tackle with your second first round pick. So this whole notion that they should trade for Caleb, who has not been able to get a grip of the NFL lifestyle yet, hasn't had to face the pressure that from faster defensive linemen, and he doesn't have the command of the locker room yet because it's all hypothetical.
Yeah, it's rookie. He doesn't know what to expect yet. Yeah,
right. Yep. Justin does. Like by all accounts, the players love Justin, and I think the potential that Justin Fields has, and I was talking about this with a Bears fan yesterday, but the potential that Justin has with the infrastructure that they're building right now in Chicago. Think 2015 Cam if he had weapons around him. Because as we all remember, that 2015 team that Cam took to the Super Bowl was pretty mediocre when you look at the supporting cast. Yeah. I mean, if Ted Ginn is your number one receiver and you make it to the Super Bowl, you must have an amazing quarterback and good other pieces around you. Because all respect to Ted Ginn, but I wouldn't even let him hold a newborn baby of mine because he's probably gonna drop it. All right, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, make it quick, bro, because we have to go.
I think the Bears should stand pat with Justin, draft Marvin Harrison Jr., draft Fashanu from Penn State or Alt from Notre Dame, and they outside the Packers, the NFC North about to get interesting. So
yeah, it's gonna be great.
Things going forward.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be great. Yo, Dylan, it's been great having you on the show. Tell the people quickly where they can find your work.
Okay, for sure. Well, thank you, DJ, and it's always great to have you. To collaborate with you. You can follow me on social media at Quan_Solo. I have a podcast called Chilling with Dylan, Sports, Life, and Music Takes, and I also do a podcast with a coworker of mine called The H Brothers. You can find both of those on Instagram and YouTube, same names and all. But DJ, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's Dylan Bruton, my brother. Have a great day, my guy.
Much appreciated. Much love. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the DJ Sports here on WRCR 1700 AM radio. Hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. See y'all next time. Peace. Hey, that was perfect. That was so perfect.